Do you ever want to get away from it all? To enjoy a little corner of the world in peace and quiet? For some islanders around the globe, it's not a dream, it's life. These remote rocks, cast adrift in the sea, aren't all island paradises. In fact, being this far from everywhere has serious downsides, especially in the days before modern shipping and the internet. Nevertheless, they're some of the most bizarre and intriguing locations on planet Earth. These island countries, of which we include autonomous territories, were often settled in the past 500 years, so remote humans struggled to reach them before the age of sail. Before we begin, be sure to hit the like button to help us out. Now, here are the 10 most isolated island countries in the world. 10. Faroe Islands. In the far reaches of the North Atlantic Ocean, midway between Iceland, the UK, and Norway, you'll find the tiny island country of the Faroes. This rugged and rocky archipelago is amongst the smallest countries in the world by population, with just over 53,000 people. Technically, the islands are a constituent country of Denmark, but like Greenland, they're fully autonomous, being self-governing since 1948. Tórshavn, named after the Norse god Thor, is the world's smallest capital city. It's renowned for its local charm, housing almost 20,000 people. It's believed Vikings first settled the Faroe Islands in the 9th century, though there's some evidence of habitation in the mid-4th and 6th centuries. Such early settlers could have been connected to the British islands of Orkney and Shetland in the far north of Scotland, albeit their stories have been lost to time. The 18 major islands remain as remote as ever, 160 miles to the nearest land, the uninhabited island of Rona in Scotland. 9. Tristan da Cunha. Located nearly 2,000 miles from South America and 1,700 miles from South Africa, this remote British overseas territory has only 258 inhabitants. It's considered the most remote inhabited archipelago in the world, composed of Tristan da Cunha, the main and largest island, the aptly named Inaccessible Island, Go Island, and the Nightingale Islands. Only Tristan is permanently inhabited, though there is a meteorological station on Go Island. Cut off from the rest of the world, the islands boast an unusual panoply of flora and fauna. Subantarctic fur seals regularly visit the archipelago, and the islands are regarded as an important bird area, being home to unique species like the Tristan thrush, northern rockhopper penguins, and Atlantic yellow-nosed albatrosses. It's not just the wildlife in the area that's grabbing headlines. In 2020, it was announced that the islands would become a marine protection zone, the 4th largest on the planet. It's part of the UK government's Blue Belt initiative to protect a significant chunk of its seas. 8. St. Helena. Not far from Tristan da Cunha, at least by South Atlantic measures, is another remote British overseas territory. St. Helena is a volcanic island over 2,500 miles from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and 1,150 miles from the nearest African coast. It was first discovered in 1502 by the Galician navigator João de Nova. Eventually, the English colonized the island in 1657, although the island had been a popular stopover for everyone from the Dutch to the Spanish. Perhaps its most famous resident wasn't a local but a prisoner. After his dramatic second bid for power and subsequent defeat at the Battle of Waterloo, the legendary French commander Napoleon Bonaparte was exiled to St. Helena, which was viewed as sufficiently distant that even he couldn't escape. Nevertheless, rumors of escape plots were rife. However, no such escape was attempted, and he died there on the 5th of May, 1821. Today, the island has a population of over 4,500. Like its sister island Tristan, it boasts an exciting menagerie of life, including 400 different invertebrates found nowhere else on Earth. 7. Greenland. Being the world's biggest island means Greenland is and isn't remote, depending on where you point on a map. Take the almost unpronounceable Ittoqqortoormiit. Founded in 1925, it's about as far as you can get from anywhere else on the island. Its 450 residents spent their time camping, dog sledging, and admiring the northern lights. Elsewhere in Greenland, it doesn't get much better. The autonomous country is a part of the Kingdom of Denmark. Despite some settlements by the Vikings in the 10th century, Greenland remains predominantly inhabited by the Thule people, with 89.7% of locals being of Inuit descent. These peoples are indigenous to the Arctic, first arriving in Greenland around 2500 BC. Nevertheless, the name is actually based on a cruel joke by the Viking Eric the Red. To entice people to move to the frosty island, he named it Greenland. It worked. Increasingly, the government in Nuuk has become more self-sufficient, with a strong focus on extracting natural resources. It's hoped this will wean the country off the annual Danish subsidy, which supports the local economy. 6. Pinglap, Micronesia. From the frosty northern climes to the tropical Pacific, Pinglap is a tiny atoll, part of the Federated States of Micronesia. The entire island has a land area of just 455 acres at high tide, and is less than 2.5 miles at its widest point. The nearest populated region lies 1,802 miles away in eastern Australia. Once this remoteness led to a unique culture unlike any in the world. In fact, the 250 residents still speak Pinjalapese, a language found exclusively on this lone island. Another odd fact is that around 10% of the population has achromatopsia, or total color blindness, meaning they see the world entirely in black and white. Where we see a lush green paradise, they have no idea. It wasn't until 1809 that outsiders first discovered the island's inhabitants, when the ship Sugarcane happened upon the tiny atoll. The Japanese seized the island in 1914, and when they lost to the Americans in 1945, a democratic system was implemented. It meant an end to the island's traditional way of life. We're halfway through the video. If you're still with us, comment isolated islands down below. 5. North Sentinel Island. North Sentinel Island is part of the Andaman Islands, an archipelago technically claimed by the Indian government. No one happened to tell the island's inhabitants, however. In fact, they're one of the few remaining groups on Earth wholly removed from modern civilization. The Sentinelese are indigenous people in voluntary isolation. Whenever anyone has ventured onto their shoreline, they're met with a fierce response. In one case, American Christian missionary John Allen Chow was killed in 2018 when he attempted to meet the islanders. Other times, arrows were shot and spears were thrown at boats or helicopters that ventured too close. The Indian government has forbidden outsiders from visiting, nor do they prosecute them for killing people, instead sending ships to patrol the area and recognizing the islanders' strong desire to be left alone. It's unknown how many people live on the island, with estimates ranging from 39 to 400, but experts have warned that the islanders are likely to be highly susceptible to outside diseases, to which they have no natural immunity. 4. TIKOPIA, Solomon Islands. TIKOPIA is part of the larger Solomon Islands, a sovereign country composed of 6 major islands and over 900 smaller islands. TIKOPIA is most definitely at the smaller end, measuring less than 1.8 square miles. Located at the southern tip of the archipelago, the nearest significant settlement is over 200 miles away in Vanuatu. Meanwhile, the Australian coast is further 1,380 miles from its shores. First populated over 3,000 years ago by the Polynesian people, the islanders have gradually worked out how to thrive on this remote island paradise. It was a hard learning curve. Initial slash-and-burn agriculture was abandoned. Bird and marine life were then exploited, and a foray into pig farming ended when the pigs ate more than they produced. For the island's inhabitants, the carefully managed practices help maintain a sustainable population and surrounding ecosystem. It means that TIKOPIA's society has changed little since ancient times, with the people taking great pride in their customs and traditions. 3. New Zealand. By far the most populous island nation on the list, New Zealand's archipelago is surprisingly remote. It consists of 2 main landmasses and over 700 smaller islands. It is located over 1,200 miles east of Australia and 600 miles from New Caledonia, Fiji, and Tonga. These fertile islands were first colonized by the Maori people around 1280 to 1350, being the last sizable habitable landmass to be settled by humans. Originally part of the Polynesians, the Maori developed a unique identity separate from the rest of their kin. Around 400 years later, Dutch explorer Abel Tasman happened across the islands, encountering the Maori in a fierce battle. 4 of Tasman's crew were killed. No European would venture to the islands for over 100 years, until British explorer James Cook mapped the entire coastline in 1769. The British traded goods with the locals, and some settled the islands. After numerous conflicts, the islands were declared part of the British Empire in 1840, under an agreement of dubious legality. In 1947, New Zealand became fully independent. Today, it's a thriving society, albeit located at the edge of the world. In fact, it's often forgotten off maps entirely. 2. Nauru. Another Pacific paradise, Nauru encompasses 8 square miles of golden coastlines and verdant forests. When it was discovered in 1798, it was named Pleasant Island, such is its beauty. In truth, the microstate was discovered long before the Europeans, at least 3,000 years ago by Micronesian settlers. The island became a fond spot for deserters, who mingled with the locals. For their part, the islanders traded food for alcoholic palm wine and firearms, leading to a civil war in 1878. Germany annexed the tiny territory in 1888, and the discovery of phosphate brought it into renewed focus. In 2018, the island celebrated its 50th anniversary as an independent country. When Nauru took control of mining in the 1980s, the profits from phosphate finally flowed to the people, becoming one of the wealthiest countries in the world when measured by GDP per capita. Sadly, after the mining industry bottomed out in the 2000s, Nauru's economy fell on hard times, with unemployment jumping to 90%. Things are finally starting to look up, however, as deep-sea mining becomes viable. You're nearly at the end of our video. We're on a mission to explore all of Earth's amazing destinations. Make sure you're subscribed. That way you'll always be notified of our latest videos. 1. Pitcairn Islands. Pitcairn is the least populated national jurisdiction in the world. The scattered rocks have a combined land area of about 18 square miles, home to just 47 permanent inhabitants. Nor are these descendants of a culture stretching back centuries. In fact, almost the island's entire population owes their existence to a mutiny aboard the HMS Bounty in 1790. 9 mutineers and a handful of Tahitian consorts form the basis of this new civilization, with many islanders bearing their surnames to this day. Located 1,317 miles from Tahiti, the islanders were undisturbed for decades. But when the British arrived in 1814, only one man was still alive alongside 30 women and children. Stories indicated serious tensions among the group. Alcoholism, murder, and disease were rife. Over 2 centuries on, the island is still thriving on the far side of the world. Hey, thanks for watching. Want to suggest a video or have something to say? Let us know in the comments section below. Check out our countries playlist for more videos like this one.